Caitlin Clark is starting to push A'ja Wilson for MVP of this league, and I am not exaggerating. She is starting to push A'ja as the best player in the league because I don't see anybody control a game the way Caitlin can.
What if I told you that the WNBA's most exciting rookie just shattered multiple records, but somehow isn't considered a top MVP candidate? Caitlin Clark's incredible season has fans scratching their heads and demanding answers. Let's break down the numbers and see why this controversy is heating up the basketball world.
The first rookie in WNBA history, you see it right there, to record a triple-double.
Is the system rigged? Clark isn't just having a good season, she's writing a historic one. She's had multiple triple-doubles, holding the first, the second, and well, the only ones for a WNBA rookie. She's the only player in WNBA history to have 100 three-pointers and 200 assists in a season. And don't forget, she's the league leader in assists and in the top 10 in scoring. Caitlin Clark's list of achievements is staggering. It's hard to keep up. In this video, we'll not only share the controversial rankings, but we'll also make the case for Clark and share records that she's broken once held by top MVP contenders during the year they won MVP. Her impact? Massive. The Indiana Fever made their first playoff appearance since 2016, thanks to Clark's phenomenal play. With numbers like these, you'd think Clark would be a top MVP candidate, right? Well, get ready for a shocker that's got fans talking and demanding answers. Before we dive in, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can bring more basketball content to viewers like you. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go.
Who would you rather take the final shot, Caitlin or Sabrina?
I have to go Caitlin.
You'd think leading the league in assists and making history would put you at the top of the MVP list. Think again. The WNBA's latest rankings have fans up in arms, and Caitlin Clark's position might shock you. Is there more to this story than meets the eye? Let's cut to the chase. Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom who's been rewriting the record books, landed at 6th place in the MVP rankings. Yeah, you heard that right. 6th. The same player who's been dominating headlines and breaking records left and right isn't even in the top 2, let alone top 5. It's a twist that's got basketball fans everywhere scratching their heads and asking, what's going on here? Now, don't get me wrong, the WNBA is stacked with talent. But when you look at Clark's resume, it's hard not to raise an eyebrow at this ranking. We're talking about a player who's not just good, but historically good. Her numbers, her impact to her team, her impact to the league are all MVP caliber stuff.
It's up, it won't go, Clark pulls it down, and this building knows what that means.
So, who's sitting pretty at the top of the MVP race? That would be A'ja Wilson, averaging an impressive 27.5 points and 11.9 rebounds per game. No doubt, Wilson's having a stellar season. But here's where things get interesting. Wilson recently suffered an ankle injury, potentially shaking up the MVP race even more. The fan reaction to Clark's ranking? Let's just say they're not holding back. Social media has been blowing up with fans expressing their disbelief and frustration. They're pointing to Clark's game-changing impact, her record-breaking stats, and the way she's revitalized the Indiana Fever. Remember, this is a team that hadn't seen the playoffs since 2016. Clark shows up, and boom, they're back in the postseason conversation. It's not just about the numbers, though, they're impressive enough. It's about the impact. Clark isn't just playing well, she's changing the game. She's bringing new fans to the WNBA, selling out arenas and creating buzz around the league that we haven't seen in years. That's the kind of intangible value that usually factors heavily into MVP discussions. So, what gives? That's the million-dollar question that's got fans and analysts alike scratching their heads. Is it because she's a rookie? Is there some unwritten rule about first-year players and MVP consideration? Or is there something else at play here? The controversy has sparked a larger conversation about how MVP candidates are evaluated in the WNBA. What exactly are the criteria? How much weight is given to individual stats versus team success? And who's making these decisions anyway? But wait, it gets even crazier when we look at how these rankings are actually decided. The process behind the MVP vote is causing quite a stir, and it might explain why Clark's incredible season isn't translating into a higher MVP ranking. Are we dealing with a flawed system, or is there more to this story than meets the eye? If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action. Think you know how WNBA MVP voting works? Think again. The league's tight-lipped approach to their selection process has fans crying foul. Could this explain why a record-breaking rookie like Clark isn't getting her due? Let's pull back the curtain on this controversial system. The WNBA MVP voting process isn't as straightforward as you might think. It's not just about who scores the most points or grabs the most rebounds. There's a whole panel of sports writers and broadcasters who get to have their say. These voters submit their top 5 candidates, and each vote carries different weight. A first-place vote is worth 10 points, second place gets 7, third place 5, fourth place 3, and fifth place just 1 point. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, here's where things get murky. The criteria these voters use to make their decisions? It's about as clear as a foggy night sky. The lack of transparency in the voting criteria has fans pulling their hair out. They're left wondering if their favorite players are being judged fairly, or if there's some secret formula we don't know about. This lack of clarity isn't just frustrating, it's fueling some pretty wild theories. Some fans are convinced the league is pulling strings behind the scenes, trying to influence voter opinions. Could this explain why Caitlin Clark, despite her record-breaking season, isn't higher in the MVP rankings? It's got people talking, that's for sure.
Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
But wait, there's more to this story. Remember those records Clark's been breaking? Some of them belong to previous MVP candidates like Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu. You'd think that would give her a leg up in the rankings, right? Well, not so fast. Critics are quick to point out that Clark also leads the league in turnovers. Is this why she's not higher in the MVP race? It's hard to say for sure because, again, we don't know exactly what these voters are looking for.
Of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark. I think she should be up for MVP. Rookie of the Year, foregone conclusion. But I think MVP.
Here's what we do know. Clark's impact goes beyond just stats. She's bringing new fans to the WNBA, selling out arenas, and creating buzz around the league. NBA legend Michael Thompson, now a notable commentator, even argued that Clark's impact on attendance and her contributions to the Fever's playoff contention should make her a serious MVP candidate. In his words, best guard in the WNBA, that's MVP to me. But here's the million-dollar question. How much do these intangibles factor into the MVP vote? Does packing the stands count as much as packing the stat sheet? Does team record count as much as team turnaround? Without clear criteria, it's anyone's guess. This lack of transparency isn't just frustrating for fans. It could have real consequences for the league. Fans feeling like their favorite players aren't getting a fair shake could lead to disillusionment with the league as a whole. Fan disillusionment is just the beginning. The real shocker? How these MVP rankings could reshape the entire landscape of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark's story isn't just about one player. It's about the future of the game. Let's talk about why these rankings matter so much. It's not just about giving props to the best players. These rankings are like a mirror, reflecting the growth and recognition of women's basketball as a whole. When a player like Caitlin Clark breaks records left and right but doesn't get fair MVP consideration, it raises questions about how we value talent in the WNBA. Clark's not just good. She's rewriting the history books. She's just surpassed Diana Taurasi's and Sabrina Ionescu's record for the most career 25-plus points, 5-plus assists, and 5-plus three-pointers in WNBA history. And get this, she did it as a rookie. That's the kind of performance that puts her in the conversation with all-time greats. But here's where it gets wild. Clark's not just breaking records. She's breaking records held by current MVP candidates. We're talking about players like Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, who held 3 out of the last 4 MVP awards in the WNBA. After Sunday's game against the Atlanta Dream, Clark now has 692 points, surpassing Aja Wilson's rookie clip of 682 points. At the same time, Clark now has the most number of 20-point, 5-rebound, 5-assist games, with 14 surpassing Breanna Stewart's record of 12 set last year when Stewart won MVP. This shows not just Clark's ability to score, but her versatility to impact the game. These are the cream of the crop, the players everyone's watching. And Clark's right there with them, sometimes even surpassing them. Now, you might be thinking, okay, she's good, but does she really deserve MVP consideration? Well, let's look at the numbers. Games with Clark are drawing an average of 15,000 fans. Without her, just 8,000. That's nearly double the attendance. Clark isn't just playing the game, she's changing it. This isn't just about filling seats, it's about growing the league. More fans mean more revenue, more TV deals, more exposure. Clark's impact goes way beyond the court. She's bringing new eyes to the WNBA, creating buzz, and getting people excited about women's basketball. But here's the kicker. If the MVP rankings don't reflect this kind of game-changing impact both on and off the court, what message does that send? Are we telling young players that breaking records and bringing fans to the game isn't enough? Are we saying that rookies, no matter how exceptional, need to wait their turn? These questions matter because they shape the future of the WNBA. If we want to see the league grow, we need to recognize and celebrate the players who are pushing it forward. Clark's not just playing well. She's elevating the entire sport. Think about it. When a player like Clark comes along and shakes things up, it challenges the status quo. It forces us to rethink how we evaluate talent, how we measure impact. And that's a good thing. It keeps the league evolving, keeps things exciting. But it's not just about Clark. This is bigger than one player. It's about making sure the WNBA's recognition system keeps pace with the incredible talent coming into the league. It's about creating a fair playing field where game-changing performances get the credit they deserve, regardless of a player's experience or status. So, what can we as fans do to make sure talent like Clark gets the recognition it deserves? Let's talk action. It starts with us speaking up, sharing our thoughts, and keeping the conversation going. Because at the end of the day, fan voices matter. They shape the narrative, influence decisions, and push for change. All right, let's talk about what we can do to make sure players like Caitlin Clark get the recognition they deserve. The MVP voting process is a black box, and that's not okay. We need to demand more transparency from the WNBA. How? Start conversations on social media, call out unfair rankings, and make your voice heard. But don't stop there. Support Clark and other rising stars by watching games, buying merch, and spreading the word. The more buzz we create, the harder it is to ignore these incredible athletes. Remember, fan power is real. When we speak up together, leagues listen. So let's make some noise about fair MVP rankings. Your voice matters. Let's make sure the WNBA hears it loud and clear. The future of women's basketball is counting on us. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest news. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.